Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is session 3 of lesson magnetism and matter, and what are the concepts I've discussed in the previous sessions. Hope all of you are understood, and please watch the videos repeatedly. Now in the current session I'll discuss about arc magnetic field related concepts. Take any one bar magnet just for an activity, and if you suspend that bar magnet freely in the air, the bar magnet will align along the north and south direction. I mean, north pole of the magnet will shows the geographical north, and south pole of the magnet shows the geographical south. In last sessions I discussed about the directive property. Means any magnet, if it is suspended, if it is setting into one particular direction, that happens only in the case of in presence of an external magnetic field. Now what does it mean? Here bar magnet is showing a particular direction all because it is available in an external magnetic field which is due to the earth. So this was the basic concepts related to the earth magnetic field. Now that is our one basic confirmation that earth exhibits the magnetic field, like you can confirm. Now the question is what is the reason behind earth exhibits the magnetic field? So there is two kinds of views are there. One is an older view, other is a modern view. I'll discuss in brief only. People were assuming a huge bar magnet was placed inside the earth along its diameter. People were assuming this way. But if you see in practical cases, magnetism will not persist under extreme temperature and pressure conditions. The reason is why, if you study the structure of earth, you can divide mainly into three major parts. The inside part is known as the core, and the next outer layer is known as the mantle, and next is known as crust. The core is having extreme temperature and pressure conditions where no material will available in the solid state. Everything will convert into molten state. Molten means hot liquids. So under such extreme temperatures, the magnetism will not persist. You know very well, the magnetism can be removed from a material just by hammering or by heating. You know that. So this assumption was proved wrong because of these practical conditions. Later, the study was still going. I cannot say it's completely confirmed. Studies are going on, but there is a modern view was evolved based on the like any current carrying conductor will produce a magnetic field. The same concept is can be applicable for this. How? If you see the core is made up of a molten state. Everything is in a molten state, and under such high pressures, electrons will come out from the atoms, and they'll start moving along with the conventional matters. What is conventional matters? The liquid will flow inside. Along with the flowing liquids, electrons also will flow. Since electron is a charged particle, under its motion, it will produce what? A magnetic field. This mechanism is known as dynamo effect. So this was the modern assumption why earth exhibits the magnetic field. But there is no any practical proof. People are assuming, and still the studies is going on. Like what is the actual cause for the producing magnetic field due to earth. So this was the basic concepts. Now, if you take any bar magnet and it's freely suspended, just now I told, it shows geographical north and geographical south. Means north pole of the magnet, bar magnet, will align along the direction of the geographical north, and south pole of the bar magnet will align along the geographical south of the earth. Now the question is, why north pole will show the geographical north? Means the south pole of the earth, as just now I told, earth acts like a magnet. South pole of the magnet is located geographical north. Assume this is geographical north. See, actually there are two concepts are there. Initially there are only few points. This is geographical north, and this is geographical south. Now, at geographical north or near to that, earth magnetic field, that to south pole of the earth is located. Means here magnetic field due to earth south pole is located near to the geographical north. Similarly, near to the geographical south, there is earth north pole is located. Means here whatever the symbols are mentioned, SC and NE, these are the magnetic south pole, magnetic north pole of the earth. And what are the things I mentioned? NG and SG. Those are the geographical north and geographical south poles. You know the poles. Since here there is a south pole due to Earth is available, then opposite poles will attract very well. That's the reason why north pole will lie along the direction of the geographical north. Similarly, south pole will lie along the geographical south. Since near to the geographical south, magnetic field due to Earth, that to north pole is located. Now, if you actually see the positions of these two, assume along this direction, geographical north and geographical south are located, then magnetic north and magnetic south will locate in this direction, slightly tilted. So what's the angle? It's closely around 11.6 degree. So the angle between the magnetic axis and geographic axis if you take. Now what is axis? Axis is the imaginary line passing through poles. One is the geographical north, second is geographical south. Along with whatever the imaginary line you can take, that is known as geographic axis. And the line which is passing through magnetic north and magnetic south is known as magnetic axis. Both these two axes are tilted with an angle. Tilted is the angle between them is 11.6 degree. This is what a basic information about the Earth magnetic field. Now, to study the Earth magnetic field at a given place, you need certain elements, or you can say physical quantities. Let us discuss about those elements. So, very first one is known as geographic meridian. Now, what is a meridian? It's generally called a space. Geographic meridian. See, what is geographic meridian? It's in a vertical plane. See, vertical plane means you can imagine this way. So, this is one plane. Now, if the plane is aligned this way, for you it is looking like a line, but it's not a line, actually it's a plane. Now, if this vertical plane is meant to pass through equator, geographic axis. Now, the vertical plane passing through the geographic axis is known as geographic meridian. So, this is a plane, I repeat, this is a vertical plane that too. This plane is passing through geographic axis, hence it's called geographical meridian. If the same plane is passing through the magnetic axis, then it is known as magnetic meridian. See, if you take such two planes, the two planes look like this. See, here I can show only one plane for understanding. This is magnetic meridian. This is geographic meridian. Both of the planes passing through each of the axis separately. Now, what is geographic meridian? You understood. Now, what is magnetic meridian? Also just now said. So, magnetic meridian is what? It's also a vertical plane passing through the magnetic axis of the Earth. Now, what is the need of these two? Based on this only, the basic tools known as magnetic elements of Earth can be described. In that very first one, known as declination. I'll repeat once again. What is the use of this magnetic elements? These are the tools which are used to calculate the magnetic field of Earth at a given place. So, please try to remember the definitions. There are three elements are there. One is known as a declination. Second is known as inclination. Symbol is dou. Third one is known as horizontal magnetic field. Symbol is BH. So, just for a recall, I discussed why Earth behaves like a magnet. One is the older view, the other is modern view. Later, what is the angle between the magnetic axis and geographic axis I have discussed. Then, I have discussed about two definitions known as magnetic meridian and geographic meridian. Now, next I am going to the discussion of magnetic elements. In that very first definition is declination. What's the declination? Just now I said, at any given place you take one magnetic meridian and geographic meridian. Defaultly, both will not coincide. They will make certain angle between them. Then, the angle between the geographic meridian and magnetic meridian itself is known as declination. So, assume this direction, geographic meridian is there. See, I have drawn 3-dimensional way. Assume this is a plane which is geographic meridian. Then at the same place, see the shaded one. See, shaded one is behind the. For clarity There you have two planes which are in V shape. You can imagine this way. I have separated the material into two parts. Assume this is magnetic meridian and this is geographic meridian. Then you can find some angle between them. Here, the angle itself is known as declination. Second one, what is the inclination? If you resolve the Earth magnetic field into components, see, anywhere, assume this direction magnetic field is acting, then you can find two components. Magnetic field component along the direction of the Earth surface, means in horizontal manner, is known as BH, known as horizontal component of Earth magnetic field. And at that point, whatever the magnetic field in the vertical direction is known as BV, stands for vertical component of the Earth magnetic field. The reason is why Earth is spherical in shape, then default you want to, there is no any other chance, like you can split the magnetic field into components. So at this place if you find what is a vertical component, along the direction of my weight, the vertical component will act. Along the direction of my left hand, or I can say right hand, the horizontal component will act. Now, at a given place, the angle between the horizontal component of the Earth magnetic field to the Earth given total Earth magnetic field is known as dou. Dou stands for inclination. I repeat, it is the angle between horizontal component of the Earth magnetic field to the total Earth magnetic field at a given point is known as inclination. This itself is known as a dip. Now last one is BH. BH technically called as horizontal component of Earth magnetic field. Then how to define that? It is a value of the horizontal component of Earth magnetic field at a given point. So these are the three things which are essential to describe the Earth magnetic field at a given point. Here, one thing is necessary, known as inclination. Inclination is given by dou symbol. Then if you split the magnetic field into components, BH and you will get BV. BH is given by formula B cos dou. BV is given by formula B sin dou. Now squaring and adding, you will get total magnetic field B square. See, B square cos square dou, B square sin square dou. Add it. Sin square dou plus cos square dou becomes 1. Then B square is equal to BH square plus BV square. Then BH is equal to under root. Will give the total magnitude of the total magnetic field. Now the question is what? What is tan dou from this? So this is for the calculation purpose, formulas. Equation 2, assume this is equation 2, this is equation 1. Equation 2 by 1, sin by cos becomes tan. Then you get BV by BH. From this also you can calculate either inclination at a given place by knowing these two, or if you know the horizontal component and inclination, you can calculate the vertical component and either of this. Now the question is, take this formula. Now for what angles, this one, cos is maximum is when dou is equal to 0, cos is maximum. When dou is equal to 90, cos is minimum. Now take that into account. Let us discuss. Now this is known as equator. Again, the equator also can be defined in two ways. One is a geographic equator, the other is magnetic equator, same like meridians. Now, at this point, magnetic field lines, if you draw the magnetic field lines, as if this is north and this is south, field lines will go this way. So just for understanding sake, I have drawn only two. If you draw any tangent, that indicates B bar. This is the things I have discussed in the basics. Now, this direction of B bar, if you draw BH, you know, like BH can be drawn only by drawing a parallel line to the surface. Now at the equator, if you are standing means this is how you stand on the earth, and for you this will become the horizontal. Now this will become BH. At the equator, if you compare BH and B both are in the same direction, then angle becomes 0. This is the total magnetic field will be equal to the horizontal magnetic field at the equator. So where the horizontal component is maximum is at the equator. Then here B bar can be drawn this way by drawing a tangent at the poles, but horizontal is this way, because anywhere if you are standing this, you will stand in this way, and for this is a horizontal. This is a horizontal magnetic field. Now, what's the angle between the actual magnetic field and horizontal is 90. What is cos 90? 0. So what is conformation? Horizontal magnetic field is maximum at the equator and minimum at the poles. See, this is the concepts a bit peculiar, so try to understand very carefully. Now, just for a recall, I discussed about what is arc magnetic field and what is the reason, what is the meaning of modern view and older view, dynamo effect and I discussed, and how to define geographic meridian and magnetic meridian. I repeat, meridian here refers to plane that is passing through geographic axis as well as magnetic axis. Any one of the thing you can take. Then further, I discussed about the magnetic elements. What's the use of magnetic elements? These elements are useful in describing or in calculation of the magnetic field of Earth at a given point. Now, what's the relation between BH and B and BB and B and how we can relate with the dou and all discussed. Now, in order to discuss or in order to differentiate the materials into components, in the components based on the magnetism, if you want to differentiate the substances into groups, you require certain other elements or physical quantities that I will discuss now. Hope you understood this. Now, getting into the further concepts. So, we will get 3 to 4 definitions which are essential and which are useful in configuration or you can say in separation of the substances into groups. So, now magnetism based, you can broadly classify the substances into 3 categories. One is known as a ferro, next is para, next is dia. Then how these can be segregated means, now the definitions will help. In that very first one, known as magnetic intensity. Symbol is H. Next one, intensity of magnetization. Symbol is I. Next, you will get magnetic susceptibility. Symbol is Xi. Like these are the 3 major things which are helpful in segregation of the substances. Now, we'll discuss one by one first of all. So, first one, what is magnetic intensity? So, for that, the symbol is given as H. So, magnetic intensity is defined as it is a ratio between magnetic induction in free space to that of the permeability of the free space. See, I repeat, magnetic intensity is symbol is given as H. It is defined as the ratio between magnetic induction in the free space to that of the permeability of the free space. You know, magnetic induction here the symbol is B. So it can be taken as SI as Weber per meter square, and mu naught, which is known as permeability of free space, SI is Henry per meter. Henry per meter. Now, on cancellation, meter and square get cancelled, so you will get Weber per Henry meter. Weber per Henry can be taken as ampere per meter, which is the essence of magnetic intensity. So, I repeat, magnetic intensity H is a ratio between magnetic induction in free space to that of the permeability of the free space. Now, this is one physical quantity required. I will discuss how it will be helpful. Next, second one, intensity of magnetization. So, any one magnetic material, see in that there is no magnetism is present. If such magnetic material is taken and you are inducing some magnetism in that, then how much magnetic dipole moment or magnetic moment is produced in that specimen per unit volume? Assume. So this is the thing you require. Assume this is a magnetic material. In this there is no magnetism is available. Now the question is, if it is placed in any one external magnetic field, it will start acquiring magnetism. Now how much magnetic moment is induced in this specimen per unit volume? That itself is known as I, which is known as intensity of magnetization. You know, magnetic moment SI is ampere meter square, volume SI is meter cube, then again you will get SI is ampere meter. So you can compare magnetic intensity and intensity of magnetization have same dimension formula or same SI bits. Dimension formulas I'm not discussing here since you are thorough with the dimension formulas. Now here you are supposed not to get confused. The reason is why magnetic intensity and intensity of magnetization words looks to be similar, but there is a lot of difference in the meaning. Magnetic intensity symbol is H. Intensity of magnetization symbol is I. So try to get bit clarity. Now susceptibility. What is magnetic susceptibility? It's the ratio between intensity of the magnetization to that of the magnetic intensity. Repeat. Intensity of the magnetization to that of the magnetic intensity. I by H. So dimensionally, if you take ampere per meter, you will get both will get cancelled. There is no SI units. Now, what this Xi is a Latin symbol. What this magnetic susceptibility indicates? So, the susceptibility indicates the acceptance of a magnetism, by a sample as a specimen. Both the ratio is same, then I can say Xi is equal to 1. If I is more than H, Xi is said to be greater than 1. I is less than H, then Xi is less than 1. So based on that, you can decide how much extent a sample can accept the magnetism. Further definitions. You will get a symbol known as mu suffix R. What is mu suffix R? Known as relative permeability. Then how to define? Permeability of the medium. If you take the ratio of permeability of the medium to the permeability of the free space, then that is known as relative permeability. So how to write this? Mu by mu naught. You know mu and mu naught have same units. Again, relative permeability is a dimensionless